If you enjoy Breaking the Clutch content and want to get more involved, join our Discord server to find teammates, community, and the ability to chat with us directly. Furthermore, follow us on Twitch to join the experience live, where we play our favorite Halo games and hang out with our audience multiple times a week. You'll find the links to both of these in the description of the video down below. Thank you for participating in our community and enjoy the video. What is going on, everybody? This is Slick from Breaking the Clutch back again with another Halo Wars 2 video. Today we've got another mid-season patch preview. So what this is essentially a preview to the patch that will be coming out at some point later on in Season 10. So what it means is the developers are being incredibly diligent. They want to keep us informed on what they're thinking about changing and put it out there so that way we can provide feedback. If you guys are looking for the link to the actual post on Halo Waypoint, check the description down below. So first things first, Renzi talks about tier 3 tanks. So we're talking about Wraith tanks, Scorpion tanks, and Grizzly tanks. What he says is Wraith, Scorpion, and Grizzlies are all getting buffs to their building damage as well as other slight changes to increase their accessibility. So this is something very important to me because when you get to that Tech 3 game, you really don't make Wraith Scorpions or Grizzly tanks if you're in a competitive standpoint. These vehicles are incredibly expensive, take a long time to produce, and take up a lot of population in your army, and they just aren't as effective as they truly need to be. So it's really exciting to see building damage buff as well as slight changes. When they say slight changes to increase their accessibility, that makes me think of cost. So I bet you we're going to see a cost reduction, albeit total supply or power or maybe even population, as those three things that I talked about, to see the tier 3 tanks actually become more useful in game. Moving on to the UNSC changes, Cyclops don't quite survive long enough to do their job as anti-vehicle units, increasing their base HP. That's fantastic. I love that. Cyclops have great speed, great cost, however they just don't survive long enough to actually take care of tier 2 and tier 3 vehicles, especially with Scorpion tanks and all tanks across the board getting a buff. This is going to be incredibly crucial in keeping the UNSC in the anti-vehicle range. Jackrabbits are not as effective at countering rush infantry compared to the other scout units, as we all know, increasing their shot speed to reduce number of missed attacks while moving. See, that's another very important thing. Jackrabbits are just simply useless at this point, and seeing them go against other scouts is going to be very fantastic. They're also going to be great at countering rush infantry, such as your Goliaths, your Flamers, your Marines, or your jump pack brutes, sorry, not brutes. So the rabbits are finally going to be good again, in my opinion. Moving on to leader powers. Cleansing Beam is no longer weak and underwhelming, but it is now overperforming, as we all know. So it will be getting toned back in a couple areas such as speed and center ring damage. So the speed and center ring damage are the two biggest aspects that they changed in the most previous update to make the meme beam super strong. So seeing the speed reduced, I hope they find like a middle ground between the speed it was before and the speed it is now, because it was definitely too slow back then, and right now it's definitely too fast. And then we talk about center ring damage. What they're talking about is that where the beam is hitting physically in front of you in the game, there are multiple rings that indicate different levels of damage. Say the innermost ring has the highest DPS and that furthest outermost ring has the lowest amount of DPS. So that means that even though the beam is hitting this one single point, there is an area of splash where other units are getting hit, and of course it does fall off the wider you go out. So that's what they're talking about with center ring damage. They want to reduce the overall damage of the center ring. Makes sense. Moving on to Atriox, looking into an actual fix for countermeasure jump pack brute mines so they will no longer stun units they fall on. As you guys know from previous patch notes and previous patch releases, Renzi and Postums hope to actually adjust the countermeasure jump pack brute mines to no longer stun units as they legitimately were jumped over. As you guys know, countermeasure jump pack brutes, when the jump pack brutes jump in the air, they drop a trail of little mines that do slight amounts of DPS, but more importantly, they stun units immensely. In the previous patch, they were hoping to change some things about it, but it seems like they still haven't reached the point they want the JPBs to be at. Moving on to Colony. Goliath armor type changed to Light Rush to match similar units. So similar units, I think, are their building killers, your Flamers, and your jump pack brutes. If you guys want to correct me in the comment section down below, I know there's some of you guys who actually know what units are in Light Rush. But I think what this means is that the Goliaths are going to be a lot easier to kill in the early game, which is fantastic because the Goliaths are damn strong. Moving on to Arbiter, this is where a lot of people are going to get up in their seats and jump for joy. Arbiter is in an odd spot where he is not incredibly powerful in a lot of ways, but very broken in several others. These changes are to address the broken parts of his toolkit in hopes to bring him to a more manageable place. The two things that they're thinking about doing are removing the ability to stack the duration of Conduit of Rage and reducing the damage bonus received. Quickly on that, what they're talking about is that right now, if you were to drop 2 leader powers while you have Conduit of Rage active, it would double stack the effect onto your army in the effective area of effect. Wow, how many times did I say effect? Don't put that in the comments down below. But essentially what they're talking about is that they want to reduce the ability to stack, so that means 2 leader powers drop does not give you even more a DPS and I think it's Leech too as well in Conduit of Rage. They want to basically take that away, so you have to drop 1 leader power and then space out another leader power after that in order to actually stack in order to actually continue your Conduit of Rage effects. Sorry. And then the Elite Spirit Assault has been moved to a tier 4 power, and the position is swapped with Stasis on the radial. So as you guys know, Stasis, I think a 6, 7, 8. I think it's an 8. It's a 7 or an 8 o'clock. I don't know. It's one of those. But anyway, the Stasis is going to be swapped with the Elite Spirit Assault. This essentially means that Arbiters can no longer have a nearly guaranteed win on 3rd point. So that means basically what people do is they would go Suicide Grunt, push a base. There's a video I have of it on the channel as well. Push a base, and then use the timing just right so that Elite Spirit Assault comes flying in, and you essentially get the Conduit of Rage effect from that. You drop Stasis Mines, you know, you do whatever else you want to do. What you'd have is a drop of Elite Enforcers, dropping Conduit of Rage on all of your ghosts, getting them back to full health, giving them a leech, giving them the DPS buff as well. Basically making an OP army while you're also melting their generators, their extractors, you know, their production buildings with your, you know, Vet Star Elite Enforcers. So I'm really excited to see this taken away, as it certainly will help benefit everything going on with the Arbiter. Moving on to Yap Yap the Destroyer. This is another leader that has certainly had a lot of conversation going on about him. People can't decide if they think he's overpowered or whatever. I think Yap Yap's Mean Beam to buildings gave him a huge advantage over other leaders at the beginning of Season 10, but now he's a little bit better now that the Mean Beam has been slightly patched. Even more in depth of that, Renzi and Postum's plan on fixing a bug causing heavy grunts to not be affected by logistics. So that means that heavy grunts were not produced faster once the logistics upgrades were put in place. Didn't even know about that, but that's good to see that they're fixing that. And then ambush mines are overperforming, and the damage when detonated is getting nerfed. If you guys watched the most recent BtC E-League tournament, you would know that Mike Beaston dropped upgraded ambush mines, which are the mines that explode and then pop out Vet 3 cannon fodder if you upgrade it. Essentially what Mike Beaston did was he dropped the ambush mines on Yoda's 3 or 4 locusts and a couple other units, and they detonated and killed basically everything Yoda had. A massive amount of army supply just dropped to this super cheap, basically uselessly seeming leader power. So it's good that we're seeing that change. Definitely need to be nerfed. And then finally, Blitz, we are currently looking into making some changes to starting armies. So that's what they're doing in Blitz. Apparently people still love Blitz, so they're going to be making some changes. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Slick from Breaking the Clutch. I hope that this has given you a good amount of insight to what will be happening in Season 10. Please, 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 if you have any opinions on things that should be changed or are not being changed or whatever, go down to the link in the description down below this video and go join in to add your bits to the conversation. This has been Slick from Breaking the Clutch, and we'll see you guys next time.